Hello guys, welcome in my home recording studio. Today few words about the mixer in a little different way. Finally comes the time that I figure out that I need a mixer. So I start searching on the line something about the mixer, but it's a bunch of videos, guy talking about what's that, what's this, what does this snap, but nobody said, alright guys, here is a mixer and I'm gonna show you how to connect everything in home studio. So after a few years using that, I would like to share with you some kind of tips how I connect the mixer in my home studio. So if you wanna get some tips, please stay with me next few minutes. So main thing to use the mixer is of course is a stage. So if you get a band, if you're on the stage, you can take your guitar player cable and connect to the line inputs. If you have a singer and the mics, you can use XLR. You will have full control over here, mains, and EQ gain for single strips, and is a lot of choices of what you can do. And after that, you can send the signal to the preamps, to the power amplifiers, and to the stage speakers, and that's it. The gig is set up. Of course, you can record using those outputs. Those two here. My other video is a lot of details. So right now I just wanna talk about how I use the mixer in my home studio. So of course on the stage, main thing, you can also use that unit like a recording console in your home studio. So pretty much the same way you can connect your band to the XLRs or to the 1/4 jacks, and the setup labels here, you have to be very careful because you just will have two outputs, left and right, and you need to send it to your interface. So after that, your session, your project will just cover two tracks, depends how you set up the interface, or just one stereo track with the left and right outputs from the mixer. And in this case, you have to be, I think, very experienced, guy right here, because if you record it, after that you can't change anything in your project. Gonna be very, very hard, to change everything. But anyway, is one way how you can record things or band, whatever, in your studio. I'm guitar player, so I try record my guitar. And if I connect directly guitar right here, it don't sound good for me, It's not the sound which I like. With the whole respect for Behringer. This is because it's Behringer mixer by Behringer. And if I put mic on my amp and use that XLR, it sounds a little bit better, but it's still not good sounding guitar for me. The sound is still a little synthetic. If I even go with the compression and EQ, sometimes I have to patch up some effects on the sound, but it's not that sound which I like. So, I don't use the mixer for recording. Maybe some of you will like it that way, that pretty dry and synthetic sound. is some kind of solution for sound of the band, but it's not my way. So I don't use a mixer for recording in my studio. And I rather record, I put the mic on the cabinet, and I go to preamps, and from preamps to the interface. That's the way how I record guitar, and I don't use the mixer for recording. The way which I use the mixer is little different, because like you see, I have a connected here bunch of jacks, those color ones. Each of those jacks is output from my interface. So if I go on the back, my unit, my interface is over there on the knee. I have 10 outputs. And, on the beginning was a pretty messy thing, because, finally I get that kind of snake. It's very convenient and very easy to use. So, for example, if I go to my workstation and my first bus, if I open output from my first bus in Adobe, I see my interface, of course. Those stuff, right? Because I believe you're dealing with those things daily. So you will see your interface outputs. So I just set up in the first bus output 1, 2 on the back my interface. And if I connect the brown and the purple over there, I will know that here is my bus number 1, and so on, other colors. So bus number 1, number 2, and 3, 4 to 10. Sometimes I keep the stereo for a drum tracks. Is right here. So that way I have 10 outputs from my interface, or I put it here. And after that, I have 2 outputs from mixer, left and right. But the thing is that I make my mixing inside the box, right? So over here, I have already good sounding tracks with the effects, with the processing in the box inside my workstation. And right here, I just do additional EQ, some gain or compression on each bus. And of course, whole time I use the headphones, right? I don't use the speaker monitors at that moment. After that, the output from the signal, from the mixer, I send to my rack. I have an additional compressor, and from compressor, signal goes to the maximizer, and from maximizer, of course, goes to my monitors. And right now, at that moment, what is inside the box, inside my workstation, it sounds a little different, like that mix which was in a mixer and the rack. So, in this case, if I gonna mix down inside the DAW, gonna be different sound. And finally, I go to the output from the last piece of rack, and I send the output from my interface back to interface. So, that way, signal goes from the workstation to my mixer, additional control, additional mixing, and compression, things like that, to other compressor, which compress full mix, maximizer, and finally that mix back to my interface. For example, right here on the front, input 1, 2. And so finally, I have just 2 tracks or 1 single stereo track, which is some kind of my master or pre-master mix, right? So that is the way shortly how I use the mixer. So I use the outputs from my interface and put the outputs right here on the input of the mixer. Signal from mixer goes to compressor, to maximizer, and from maximizer to the speakers, and additional output from maximizer as I send the signal back to my interface to record finally mix which passed through the mixer and the rack. So that's the way how I use the mixer. I don't use the mixer for recording, like I said before, just on the outputs from my interface. You know, what I like about mixer is okay. Any problems, just in the summertime, I talk about it in the other video, it's a problem with the feathers and the knobs because of humid, but if you want to get some more details, you can find it in my other video. And that was, I think, shortly about how I use a mixer in my home recording studio. Thank you guys for your time. Thank you for watching. Zembach was here. Thanks. See you next time. Bye bye.